job, friends, subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon for the latest update. Today we're gonna start with a new class, that is your class of chemistry, that is of class 12, that we are dealing with NCERT as I told you in the starting of this. This has been the class which we have is your class 17th class, and we had done your 16 classes where we had completed your unit 1 and unit 2, unit 3, unit 4, and even though unit 5 and unit 6 we had started it in the last classes where we had completed that, and this is the unit 6 which surely if it is not exceeded an hour, so we'll end up with in this class only. So first of all, before starting with the topic that we have to cover up, lastly we have done your 2 numericals in the last classes, and before starting with this, it's a huge request from my side to all the viewers to please go through the subscribe button and please like, share and subscribe our channel. So please like, share and subscribe our channel so that many and maximum people can get the information at once, and even though you can also enjoy the video as well. In terms of it, this is, as I told you, this has been the unit which we have here, unit 6, and the name of the unit, as I told you, the general principles, processes of isolations of element here. Now we discuss, we have ended up with the second 2 questions in the last class. Now we'll start with the third question that we have to do, and then we'll discuss about the applications here, and further we'll surely complete that. So it's a huge request from my side. Let's go ahead with the third question of the session that we have to talk about it, and that is also an important one. In the same cases here that we have to go ahead, the question is itself that why is the reductions of metal oxide easier if the metal form is in a liquid state at the temperature of reduction, that we have to talk about it. So I will just write it down the question for you all, and then we'll start discussing about it in the detail. Why is the reduction of a metal oxide easier if the metal formed is in liquid state at the temperature of reduction. Now we will be going ahead here, that we have to answer it out here, that the entropy is higher if the emitter is in the liquid state than when it is in the solid state, and the value of the entropy change, which is delta S, of the reduction process is more on a positive side when the metal form is in the liquid state and the metal oxide being reduced is in the solid state. Thus the value of delta G becomes more on negative side and the reduction become easier as well. Now we'll start discussing about the applications here, that we have to go ahead here in the detail about it. So here we go ahead for the applications here that we have to discuss here. So let's go ahead for that, the applications here that we have to discuss. In terms of application, that is application, the first application we have extractions of iron from its oxide. That is extraction of iron from its oxides here. So oxide ores of iron after the concentration through the calcination roasting, that to remove water and to decompose the carbonates and to oxidize sulfides that are mixed with limestone and coke and fed into a blast furnace from its top, and here the oxide is reduced to the metal. Thermodynamics help us to understand how coke reduces the oxide and why this furnace is chosen. So one of the main reduction steps in the process we have, and that metal oxide that reduces to the metal and reducing agent oxide, that is your redox reaction we have. For the same case, for the reduction action that we have is your FeO that we have here, which is in the form of solid plus CS here, that is it will give you Fe sol plus 1 plus CO, that is of gas here. It can be seen as a couple of two simpler reactions in one, that the reduction of FeO is taking place, and in the other, that is the Cb in oxidations to the CO as well, which is your FeOS, that will give FeS plus half O2, which is in the form of gases here, and the another we have is your CS plus half we have, and which is your O2 gas will give CO in the form of the gases here. There we have. So in the same case, when both the reactions takes place to yield the equation here, that net Gibbs energy changes become. So on the same case, delta G, we can say that delta G equals to, with delta G plus delta G equals to delta R of G, and naturally the resultant reactions will take place when the right hand side of the equation is negative, and in delta G versus the T, that plot representing the reaction, the plot goes upward and representing the change as well, that is C tends to CO. In the same, that goes towards the downward, and at temperature above 1073 Kelvin approximation, that the C and the CO, that line comes below the Fe and FeO, and which is, so in this range the coke will be reducing the FeO and will itself be oxidized to CO. And in a similar way, that the reductions of Fe3O4 and Fe2O that we have at relative lower temperatures by CO, that can be explained on the basis of lower line points of intersections of their curves with the CO-CO2 curve as well. On the same cases, in the blast furnace, that the reductions of iron oxide that takes place in a different temperature ranges, and hot air is blown from the bottom of the furnace and coke is burned to give the temperature up to about the 2200 Kelvin in the lower portion itself, and the burning of the coke therefore supplies most of the heat required in the process, and the CO and heat moves into the upper part of the furnace, and in upper part that the temperature is lower, and the iron oxide Fe2O3 and Fe3O4 that coming from the top, and that are reducing in steps to FeO, and thus the reduction reaction taking place in the lower temperature that ranges in the higher that is your temperature range, that depends on the points of corresponding intersections in the delta R of G versus T plot, and these reactions can be summarized to be as follows. Like at 500 to 800 Kelvin, the lower temperature ranges in the blast furnaces we have, and the reaction for this we have is to be as follows here, which is 3Fe2O3 plus CO, that tends to 2Fe2O4 plus CO2. Another equation we have is Fe3O4 plus 4CO. It will give 3Fe plus 4CO2 that we have. So here it is Fe2O3 plus CO, that will tends to FeO plus CO2 here that we have here. So these were the things that we have to discuss here, and that is also an important one. On the same cases here, for the same sake we have to go ahead, and that is at 900 and 1500 Kelvin, that is higher temperature that range to the blast furnaces as well. So for the same cases we will be having an equation for that, and I will be writing with a different pen so that you will get to know what which oven we have representing here. C plus CO2, that will give you a CO, and that is FeO plus CO, that will give your Fe plus CO2 here. So this is the ore limestones and coke here that has been represented here as well, where limestone is also decomposed to CaO, which removes silicates impurities of the ore as a slag, and the slag is a molten state, and that separate out from iron as well. On the same cases, the iron obtained from the blast furnaces that contain about 4% carbon, and that is many impurities in a smaller amount. Example, your Sp, St, Mn as well. This is known as a pig iron or a cast iron variety of the variety of shapes as well. The cast iron is different from the pig iron and is made of melting pig iron with the scrap iron and a coke using hot air blast. It has a slightly lower carbon tint, about 3%, and is extremely hard and brittle as well. On the same cases, with the references towards it, we will talk about it as I had represented here only. On the same case, that the further reduction, if I'm talking about, that the wrought iron or a malleable iron is a purest form of the commercial iron and is prepared from the cast iron by oxidizing the impurities in the reversibility furnace that lined with the hematite. This hematite oxidizes carbon to the carbon monoxide, and on the same cases, the reduction we have here, the equation that is we have is your Fe2O3 plus 3C, which will give to Fe plus 3CO here. On the same cases, the limestone is added as a flux and a sulfur, silicon and phosphorus that are oxidized and passed into the slag, and the metal is removed and freed from the slag by passing through rollers. That is the further one, and that is the second. We'll talk about the categorization. That first we have extractions of iron from iron oxide, and the second we have the extractions of copper here, which is in the same cases for that, and that is the extraction of copper from cuprous oxide, which is your copper 1 oxide as well, that we have to talk about it here. On the same cases, with the same references, if I'm going ahead, yes, of course, that in the graph of the delta R of G, that was the state for the reformation of oxide, and Cu2O line is almost at the top, and so it is quite easy to reduce ores of copper directly to the metals by heating with coke, and that the lines of CCU and CCO2 that are much lower position in a graph, particularly after the 500 and 600 Kelvin. However, most of the are sulfides and some may also contain iron. The sulfide are roasted, smelted to give oxides as well. On the same behalf of it, we'll go ahead further, which we'll talk about in terms of it, and that is we have here the reactions that we have as follows is your, I'll just write it down with a different pen, but I think it's just okay. That is C 2Cu2S plus 3O2. It will give you 2Cu2O here plus 2SO2 as well. On the same cases, the oxide that can be easily reduced to metallic copper, that using here, that we have to answer it out as well, that is your Cu2O plus C, that will give you 2Cu plus Cu. In an actual process, the ore is heated in reversibility furnaces. After mixing with silica in the furnaces, an iron oxide, that is a slag of iron silicate, and a copper is produced in the form of copper matte. This contains U2S and FeS, and for that we have a reaction is your FeO plus SiO2, which will give FeSiO2 here, that is your slag here that we will be representing here. On the same cases, the copper matte is then charged into the silica line converter. Some silica is also added and hot air blast is blown to convert the remaining FeS, FeO and Cu2OS as well as CuO to the metallic copper. Following reactions that takes place. On the same cases, we'll go ahead, and that is 2 FeS plus 3O2. It will give you 2 FeO plus 2 SO2 as well. On the same cases, FeO plus SiO2, that will give FeSiO2 here, which is a slag here as I told you. And on the same case, 2Cu2S plus 3O2, which will give 2Cu2O and plus 2SO2 as well, and 2Cu2O plus Cu2S, it will give 6 Cu plus SO2 as well. Here that the solidified copper obtained has that blistered appearance due to the evolutions of SO2, and so it is called a blister copper. The third we'll talk about for the extractions of copper that we had talked about it. The third we have extraction of zinc from zinc oxide. Extraction of zinc from zinc oxide that we have to talk about it. On the same cases where the reduction of zinc oxide is done using coke, and the temperature in this case is higher than that of the case of copper, and for the purpose of the heating, the oxide is made into the bricklets which coke with coke and clay as well. For the reaction for this we have here, as that is your ZnO plus C, which is your coke at 1673 Kelvin, that will give you Zn plus Co here. On the same cases here, for that the metal is distilled off and collected by the rapid chilling as well. So there are some questions that we are going to do as a homeworks for that the reaction is Cr2O3 plus 2Al, that will give you Al2O3 plus 2Cr, and is the thermodynamically feasible as is apparent from the Gibbs energy value, and why does it not take place at room temperature, that you have to answer it out. Another question is that true under the certain condition Mg that can reduce Al2O3 and Al that can reduce MgO? What are those conditions you have to find out? So I think I will just tell you about it if you don't get to know, but of course I would just request you to please implement that as you can go ahead. In the same case, that is your the two condition is that below to 350 degrees Celsius, that may reduction Al2O3 that above, and for the same case for the MgO as well. We'll discuss the another one, which is in terms of it the electrochemical principles of metallurgy, that we have to talk about it, and that is even the important here. So on the same behalf of it, we will be going ahead, and that we have to discuss here as well. So on the same cases, we will be going ahead here as follows. That is your electrochemical principle of metallurgy. So electrochemical principles of metallurgy here. In the same cases, we have seen how principles of thermodynamics are applied to the pyrometallurgy, and similar principles that are effective in the reductions of metals, ions in solutions or molten state. Here they are reduced by the electrolysis or by adding some reducing element as well. In these reductions of molten metal salt, that electrolysis is done, and such methods are based on electrochemical principle as well, which could be understood through the equation. So where delta G, we can say that, which has been representing here is your delta G is equals to minus n naught upon that is F here as well. On the same behalf of it, where here n is the number of the electron and E is the electron potential of the redox couple that formed in the system. More reactive metal that have a large negative values of the electrode potential, so that the reduction is difficult as well. If the difference of the two E values that correspond to the positive E and then the commutatively negative delta G, that in equation that we have to talk about it in the same cases, then the less received metals will come out to the solution, and the more reactive metal that will do to the solution here. For the reaction for this we have here is that to be as follows, and which is your Cu 2 plus, which is in aqueous here, plus Fe, which is in the solid form, it will give you Cu S, and plus Fe2 plus, which is in aqueous here. In a simple electrolysis, that the M that is your N plus ions are discharged at a negative electrode, that is cathode, and a deposit there as well, where the precautions are taken considering the reactivity of the metal that produced, and suitable materials are used as electrode, and sometimes a flux is added for making a molten mass more conducting as well. On the same cases here we'll talk about, which is the aluminium here. In terms of it, the aluminium we'll discuss about it, and that is also an important one. So in terms of aluminium, so that we have to go ahead and that we have to discuss here in the detail. On the same cases, we'll talk about the aluminium in terms of aluminium here, and that we have to talk about it. In the metallurgy of aluminium, that purified Al2O3 is mixed with Na3AlF6 or CaF2, which lowers the melting point of the mix and brings conductivity, and the fuse matrix is electrolyzed. So steel vessels with a lining of carbon act as cathode, and the graphite anode is used. The overall reaction that may be written in the form of, I will just write it down here, which is in the form of representing with a different pen, so that you will get to know, and even though you can write down as well. that is 2Al2O3 plus 3C4Al plus 3CO2 here. So this process of electrolysis is widely known as Herold's process. Thus, electrolysis of the molten mass is carried out in an electrolytic cell using a carbon electrode, and the oxygen that is liberated at anode react with the carbon of anode producing CO and CO2. This way, for each kg or aluminum that is produced here, about 0.5 kg of the carbon anode is burned away, and that the electrolytic reactions that would be are as follows. For the cathode, Al3 plus that is melt, and plus 3 that is of A that tends to Al as well. At anode we'll have your Cs, that is O2 minus, will give you CO2 plus, and C plus 2O2 minus will give you CO2 and plus 4E as well. On the same cases, we'll talk about the copper from a low grade ores and scraps. So in the same case, where copper is extracted by the hydrometallurgy from the low grade ores, it is leached out using acids or bacteria as well. And the solution containing CO2 plus is treated written scrap iron of H2, and that equation we will be having here in the form like Cu2 plus aqueous plus H2 gas. It will give CuS plus 2H plus, which is aqueous here. And the same cases that we have to talk about it. On the same case, the question we have here is that is the fourth question of the sessions of course, and that we have at a site low grade copper ores are available and the zinc iron scraps are also available. Which of the two scraps would be more suitable for reducing the leached copper ore, and why? That for this in the same sake we'll have to answer it out as well. So we'll go ahead. At a site low grade copper ores are available and zinc and iron scraps are also available. Which of the two scraps would be more suitable for reducing the leached copper ore, and why? That we have to talk about it. So here for the answer we have zinc being above the iron in the electrochemical series, which is more reactive metal in zinc as well. The reduction will be the faster in case zinc scraps and that are used, but zinc is costlier metal than the iron, so using the iron scraps that will be advisable, add advantages as well. We'll talk about the oxidation reduction here in the detailed about it, which is also that is also important, and that we have to talk about it. Let's go ahead here. We'll talk about it. That is the another one is your oxidation reduction here. Oxidation reduction here, where beside reductions, some extractions are based on the oxidation, particularly for the non-metals. And a very common example of extraction that is based on oxidation is the extractions of chlorine from brine, and that is the chlorine is abundant in seawater as common salt as well. And that for that same sake we have a reactions here that I will be representing you here, and so that you will get to know about it. 2Cl minus aqueous plus 2H2O liquid that we have, that will give 2OH minus here aqueous, and that is plus H2 gas plus a Cl2 gas as well. In the same cases where delta G for this reaction has been plus 42 or 422 kg kilojoule, and that is your when it is converted to the using delta G, that is minus E of FFZ as I told you. We get E that gives energy is minus 2.2 volt, and naturally it will be required the external EMF that is greater than 2.2 volt, and but the electrolysis that required an excess potential to the overcome some other hindering reaction, and the Cl2 is obtained by electrolysis giving out H2 and an aqueous NaOH as a product. That electrolysis of molten NaCl is also carried out, and but in the case that Na metal is produced and not NaOH as well. As studied earlier, the extractions of gold and silver that involves leaching with the metal and that with the Cn minus. This is also an oxidation reaction that is Ag tends to Ag plus, and Au gives you Au2 plus as well, and the metal is later recovered by a displacement method as well. Now we'll go ahead with writing another equation in terms of it, and that is also an important one, and that we have to talk about it, even though that is we have to discuss here, which is 4Au plus 8Cn minus aqueous plus 2H2O aqueous plus O2, which is in the form of gas, that will give 4Au. We have that is your Cn twice aqueous plus 4OH minus aqueous here, that we have. So for the same sake, we have another equation, 2Au Cn2 aqueous plus ZnS, that will give 2AuS plus Zn Cn4 twice minus, that is in aqueous here. On the same case, in this reaction, that is the zinc act as a reducing agent as well. Now we'll discuss about another one, which is your in terms of refining, and that we have to talk about it. So let's go ahead for that refining as well. That is also an important one. In terms of refining here, that refining a metal extracted by any method is usually contaminated with some impurity for obtaining a metal of high purity, and several techniques are used depending upon the differences in properties of the metals and the impurities, that some of them are listed below. So the first we have is your that is in terms of distillation, liquefaction, electrolysis, zone refining, vapor phase refining, and chromatographic method as well. So these are we discussed in a detailed about it. So let's go ahead to discuss here. The first we'll having is your which is your distillation. The first is in terms of distillation here, this is very useful for low boiling metals, and that like zinc and mercury, the impure metal is evaporated to obtain the pure metal as distilled here. And for the second we have is your that is liquefaction. In terms of liquefaction here, that is in this method a low melting metal like tin that can be made to flow on sloping surfaces. In this way it is separated from the higher melting impurities as well, that we have to talk about it. With the another one we'll talk about it, which is the third one is your electrolytic refining here, that we have to discuss here. The third we have is electrolytic refining. So electrolytic refining here, that in this method that the impure metal is made to act as anode, and a strip of the same metal is pure form is used to as cathode. They are put in a suitable electrolytic bath containing the soluble salt of the same metal. The more basic metal remains in the solution, and the less basic ones go to the anode mud, and this process is also explained using the concept of electrode potential over potential, and the gives energy, which you have seen a previous section, that the reactions that we have. For the anode we have reaction M, that metal is your Mn plus, and that gives you Ne, and cathode for that N plus, that plus Ne minus, that will give metal here. For the same case, if I'm talking about in terms of copper here, for the reaction here, for the electrolytic refining, so yes, of course, for that the copper is refined using an electrolytic method, and that anodes are impure copper and a pure copper strips that are taken as cathode, and the electrolyte is acidified solution of the copper sulfate, and the net result of the electrolysis is the transfer of the copper in pure form, that from an anode to the cathode as well. So that impurities from the blisters copper deposit at anode, mud which is like कीचड़ जिसे हम कहते हैं, which contains the antimony and selenium, tellurium, silver, gold, platinum. Recovery of these elements that may meet cost of refining as well, where zinc may also be refined this way as well. Okay, so these were the things we have to talk about it. On the same cases, we'll talk about the fourth one, which is your that is having a zone refining. So that is the fourth one, and that is your zone refining here. In terms of zone refining, that we have to talk about it here, and it is also an important one, and that is also important one. In terms of zone refining, this method is based on the principles that the impurities are more soluble in the melt and that in the solid state of the metals, where a circular mobile heater is fixed at one end of the rod, and that impure melting that is impure metals mobile heater is fixed at the one end, the rod of the impure metal that here the molten iron moves along with a heater, and which is move towards forward as the heater moves forward, and the pure metals crystallizes out of the melt, and that impurity pass on into the adjacent molten zone as well, and the process of the repeated several times, and the heater is moved, get concentrated, and the sand is cut off. So this semiconductors and the other metals of a very high purity, example like germanium, silicon, boron, gallium and indium as well. In the same cases, we will be talking about a structure for this that is also being representing here, and even though that is also important for that as well. So on the same cases, we'll be drawing a diagram for this, and that you will get to know about the zone defining process here. So this is being like, we have a structure that we have, and this is your that we have here. It is noble gas, atmosphere. This is your induction coil heater, that moving. This is your, we talk about it as your metal rod. This is the space is being given as your molten zone that we have. This is a zone refining process. That we have to talk about it. Now we'll discuss about the another one, that is the fifth one, which is your vapor phase refining. In vapor phase refining, in this method, the metal is converted into its volatile compound and collected elsewhere. It is then composed to give the pure metals and collected elsewhere. It is decomposed to give the two requirements are, that is the metal should form a volatile compound with an available reagent, and the volatile compound that should be easily decomposable, so that the recovery is easy. So following example for the illustrated this technique, like MOD process for the refining nickel. In this process, the nickel is heated in the stream of the carbon monoxide, forming a volatile complex, and that is the tetracarbon. For that same case, we have here is here that we have to represent it as in the form of the equation we just write it down, and that is your Ni plus 4Co in the presence of 330 to 350 Kelvin, NiCO4 here. The carbonalysis is subjected to higher temperature so that it is decomposed, giving a pure metal, and for the same case we have a reaction NiCO4. It will give at a temperature of 450 to 470 Kelvin, that is Ni. plus 4CO. Van Alkyl method, or a refining zirconium or a titanium. This method is very useful for removing all the oxygen and nitrogen present in the form of the impurity in certain metal like Zr and Ti, and the crude metal of the heated in an evacuated vessels with iodine, and the metal iodine that being more covalent volatiles as well. On the same cases we have here, which is your Zr plus 2I2, that will get ZrL4 I4. And on the same cases, for the another one, that the metal iodide is decomposed on the tungsten filament, then the that is electrically heated as about 1800 Kelvin, then the pure metal is thus deposited on the filament, which is will give Zr I4, will give Z plus 2I2 as well. So here the next we'll talk about it, which is the sixth one, and that is the chromatography method. Chromatographic method. So in this method is based on the principle that the different components of the mixtures are differently absorbed on an adsorbent, and that is the mixture is put into a liquid or a gaseous medium, which is moved through the adsorption, where the different components are adsorbed at a different level on the column. Later, the adsorbed components are removed, and that is eluted by using a suitable solvent, which is eluent as well. Now, depending upon the physical state of the moving medium and the adsorbent material, and also the process of passive of the moving medium, and the chromatography method as well, that is being given the name here. In one such method, that the column of Al2O3 is prepared in a glass tube, and the moving medium containing solutions of the exponent as in the liquid form. This is an example of a column chromatography, and this is very useful for purification of the element, and which are available in a minute quantities, and the impurities that are not very different in chemical properties from the element that to be purified. There are several chromatographic techniques such as paper chromatography and column chromatography, gas chromatography, etc. That is the procedures that followed in a column chromatography that we have here. So the industrial method, laboratory method, these were the different methods where we will use the detector. In industry we use the detector, flow meter, oven, that a flow injection pump, solvent tank as well. And in the reference of the laboratory lab, where we discuss of course the mixtures of components, stationary phases, colored boxes as well, that will be shown here. For looking the way that the chromatography in general, that involves here a mobile phase of a stationary phase, and that the sample of a sample stack is dissolved in a mobile phase, and the mobile that phase may be a gas or a liquid, or of course this, that is a supercritical fluid as well. The stationary phase is immobile and immiscible, like the Al2O3 column, and that is the example of the column chromatography above. The mobile phase is then reinforced that through the stationary phases, and that the mobile phases and the stationary phases are chosen such that the component of the sample have different solubilities in two phases, and a component which is quite soluble in the stationary phases that takes longer time to travel through it, and then a component which is not very soluble in the stationary phase, but yes, free soluble in the mobile phase as well. The sample components are separated from each of them, and that is travel through the stationary here. And on the same cases, stationary phase, and that depending upon the two phases and the way that's the sample inserted, injected, and the chromatographic technique is named here as well. On the same case, these methods we have been discussed about in the detail about the class 7th, class 11th, that unit 12 we had discussed, and hopefully you will be had been gone through with that. If you had not, yes, you have to go ahead, so that it will be get to know about you as well what we had discussed here. Now we'll discuss another topic, which is the uses of aluminium, copper, zinc and iron here. So that we have discussed here. Uses of aluminium, copper, zinc and iron. Okay, that we have to discuss. We will discuss one by one. Further, in respect towards aluminum foil are used to wrappers for chocolates, and the fine dust or the metals is used for the paints and that is your that we have your lacquers. Aluminium, being highly reactive, is also used to the extractions of chromium and manganese from their oxides, while of aluminium that are used as electricity conductivity alloys containing aluminium that being light are very useful as well. In terms of copper here, copper is used for making the wires used as electrical industry, and that is for the water and stream pipes, and it is also used for the several alloys that are that we have here, the rather the touchers than the metals itself. An example like brass with zinc and bronze with tin, and a coinage alloy with nickel as well. In terms of zinc here, that zinc is used for the galvanizing iron, and it is also used in large quantities in batteries as a constituent of many alloys. Example your brass, and then we have your zinc, German, silver, that we have nickel, zinc as well. That dust is used for the reducing agent in the manufacture of the dyes, and that is your the stuffs, planes, etc. In terms of iron, that is a cast iron is the most important from the iron is used for the casting slopes, railway sleepers, gutters, pipe, toys, etc. It is used in the manufacture of the wrought iron and steel, and wrought iron is used in making the anchors, wires, bolts, chains, and agriculture that implement, and as well as steel finally a number of uses as well. Alloy steel is obtained when the metals are added to it, and the nickel steel is used for making cables, automobiles, and aeroplanes apart, and pendulum measuring the tapes, chrome steel, and for cutting the tools and crushing the machine, and the stainless steel for cycles, automobiles, utensils, pens, etc. as well. Now in the same case we'll end it up here, and in the same here we just go ahead, and that is for the metals that are required for the variety of the purposes. For this we need these extractions from the minerals in which they are present, and from which their extraction is commercially feasible as well. These minerals are known as ores, and ores of the metals and associated with many impurities. Removal of these impurities for a certain extent of the achieved in a concentration step, and that is the concentrated ore is then treated chemically for obtaining the metals, and usually the metal compound, example like oxides and sulfides, and that are reduced to the metal, and the reducing agent that used for the carbon monoxide, or even some metals that in these reduction process, that the thermodynamic and the electrochemical concept that are given due to the concentrations, and the metals oxide reacting with a reducing agent, that the oxide is used for the metals and the reducing agent is oxidized. In the two reactions, then the net gives energy change in negative, and which becomes more negative on raising its temperature. The conversions of the physical state from the solid to liquid, or to liquid gas, and the formations of the gaseous state that favors and decrease in the Gibbs energy of for the entire system. The concept of graphically displayed on a plot here, that is the Ilhingham detail that we had discussed for such oxidation reduction reaction at a different temperature. The concept of electrode potential is useful in the isolations of metals like aluminum, that is your gold and silver of course, where that the sum of the two redox couple, that is positive, so that the Gibbs energy change is negative, and the metals obtained by usual method still contained here, that is the metals still contain minor impurities, and getting a pure metals that require refining. So refining process depends upon the differences in properties of the metal and the impurities. The extractions of aluminum is usually carried out from its bauxite ore by leaching it with NaOH, and sodium aluminate thus formed is separated and then neutralized to give back the hydrated oxide, and which is then electrolyzed using the cryolite as a flux. And extractions of iron is done by reduction of its oxide O in the blast furnace. So copper is extracted by smelting and heating in the reverberatory furnaces. Extraction of zinc from zinc oxide is done using the coke, and several methods are employed as well. Now we'll talk about that in refining, that the metals that in general that are very widely used for have contributed significantly in the development of the variety of industries as well. We will discuss the aluminium. For that, the occurrence is bauxite Al2O3xH2O, and a cryolite, which is Na3Al6. Common method for the extraction is electrolysis of Al2 dissolved in the molten Na2Al6, and for the remark we talk about it, so that for the extraction a good source of electricity is required here. For the iron, that is hematite and magnetite. For hematite the formula is Fe2O3, and for the magnetite Fe3O4. For the common method of extraction, that is the reductions of the oxide with the carbon monoxide and a coke is in blast furnace, and that for the remark, the temperature approaching like 2170 Kelvin is required here. The third we'll talk about it, which is your copper here. Under the same cases here, for the another one is your copper. For that, the occurrence is copper pyrite, which is CuFeS2, and copper glass, which is Cu2S, and malachite we have your CO3 dot CuOH twice, and cuprite, that is Cu2O here. For the common method of extraction is your roasting of sulfide partially and reduction, and for the remarks we have, it is a self reduction in the specially designed converter, and the reduction that takes place easily. Sulfuric acid leaching in is called used in hydrometallurgical from low grade ores as well. Then other we talk about it, that is ores, that is about zinc, and that occurrence is zinc's blend, or that is ferrite, that is ZNS, or calamine, that is CO3, and zincite, which is ZNO. Common method of extraction is your roasting followed by the reduction with coke. Remark that the metal may be purified by fractional distillation as well. Now we'll talk about there are many questions about related to it, that is the copper that can be extracted by the hydrometallurgy but not zinc. Explain what is the role of the depressant in the first flotation process. Why is the extractions of copper from pyrites more difficult than that of the from its oxide ore through reduction. Explain zone refining in column chromatography. Out of C and CO2, that which is the better reducing agent at 673 Kelvin. And then we have to explain in the common elements present in the anode marginal electrolytic refining of the copper. Why are they so present? Write down the reactions taking place in the different zones in the blast furnaces during the extractions of ore. Write chemical reactions taking place in the extractions of zinc from zinc blend. State the role of the silica in the metallurgy of the copper. What is meant by the term chromatography? What criteria is followed for the selection of the stationary phases in chromatography as well? Another question is, describe a method for refining nickel. How can you separate the alumina from the silica in a bauxite are associated with the silica? Give equations if any. Give example, differentiate between roasting and calcination. How is a cast iron different from a pig iron? Difference between minerals and ores. Why copper matte is put in silica lined converter. What is the role of the cryolite in the metallurgy of the aluminium? How is leaching carried out in the case of low grade copper ores? Why is zinc not extracted from the zinc oxide through the reduction using CO? And the value of the delta R of G for the formations of Cr2O3 is a 540 kg mole inverse, and that of Al2O3, and that is minus 827 kg mole inverse is the reductions of Cr2O3 possible with Al. Out of C and CO, which is better reducing agent for the ZNO, and the choice for the reducing agent is a particularly case depends upon your own opinion with you two examples, and name the process from which the chlorine is obtained as byproduct, and what are byproduct, and what will happen if the aqueous solution of NaCl is subjected to electrolysis. What is the role of the graphite rod in the electrometallurgy of aluminium? Outline the principles of refining of metals by the following method, like zone refining, electrolytic refining, vapor phase refining. Predict the conditions under which Al might be expected to reduce the MgO, and that we have to talk about it. So for the same sake, you have to answer it out, and for the same we'll discuss in the next coming class in the next rest of the topics that we have to discuss. Unit 6 is completed, and now we have to start with unit 7 here. That is the name is the P block element. Of course, that is important here, and that I will show you some of the tricks as well. That is the easy to learn as well. So here we'll end it up, and first of all, it's a huge request from my side to all the viewers to please go through the subscribe button, and please like, share and subscribe to the channel so that many and maximum people can get the information at once, and even though you can also enjoy the video as well. Other than chemistry, if I'm talking about, yes, of course, we are dealing with the chemistry reasoning here, where we had completed your verbal reasoning and non-verbal reasoning. We had started with verbal reasoning by general mental ability, and the logic reasoning we had covered up. Non-verbal reasoning we had started with the SAT series we had completed, analogy, classification, analytical reasoning, mirror image, water image, embedded figure, completions of incomplete pattern, figure matrix, that we had completed. So yes, for the next topic we'll have to start with it. In terms of quantitative aptitude, yes, we had started with arithmetical ability, where we had completed operations on numbers, SCF and LCM of numbers, that is decimal fractions, simplification, square roots and cube roots, and now we are dealing with averages as well. That is the sixth topic of the quantitative aptitude, and even though that is also important because this has been the competition one. Another we'll talk about the unit 1, which we have to cover up, is the solid state. We had cover up, that is the general characteristic of the solid state, amorphous and crystalline solid, classification of crystalline solid, crystal lattice and unit cell, number of atoms in a unit cell, flow spec structure, specking efficiency, calculation involving unit cell dimensions, imperfections in solid, electrical properties, magnetic properties as well. Unit 2 is the solution, which is we have to cover up the types of solution, expressing the concentration of solution, solubility, vapor pressures of liquid solution, ideal and non-ideal solution, colligative property of determination of molar masses, abnormal molar masses as well. The third unit we have electrochemistry, which is we have to cover up the electrochemical cells, galvanic cells, Nernst equation, conductance of electrolytic cell solution, electrolytic cells and electrolysis, batteries, fuel cells, corrosion. Unit 4 is chemical kinetics, where we have to cover up the rate of the chemical reaction, factor influencing the rate of the reaction, integrated rate equations, pseudo first order reaction, temperature dependence of the rate of the reaction, collision theory of the chemical reaction as well. Unit 5th is your surface chemistry, adsorption, catalysis, colloid, classification of colloid, emulsion, colloid arousal that we had discussed. Unit 6 we had completed in this class only, that is the general principles and processes of isolations of element, where we had completed occurrence of metal, concentration of ores, extractions of fluid metal and from concentrated ores, thermodynamic principle of metallurgy, electrochemical principles of metallurgy, oxidation reduction, defining uses of aluminium and copper, zinc and iron as well. The unit 7 we'll have to discuss here that the P block element, where is group 15 element, dinitrogen, ammonium, oxides of nitrogen, nitric acid, phosphorus, allotrophic forms, phosphine, phosphorus halides, oxoacids of the phosphorus, group 8, 16 element, dioxygen, simple oxides, ozone, sulfur, allotrophic forms, sulfur dioxide, oxoacids or sulfur, sulfuric acid, group 17 element, chlorine, hydrogen chloride, oxoacids of halogens, interhalogen compound and group 18 element as well. Unit 8 is the D and the block element. We have to cover up the position in the periodic table, electronic configuration of the D block element, and that is general principle of the transition element of the D block, some important compounds of the transition element, the lanthanides and the actinides, some application of the D F block element as well. Unit 9 we have to cover up, that is the coordination compound, where we have to cover up Warner's theory of the coordination compound, definition of some important terms pertaining to the coordination compound, nomenclature of the coordination compound, isomerism of the coordination compound, bonding in the coordination compound, and bonding in the metal carbonylysis, stability of the coordination compound, importance and application of the coordination compound here. So we'll end up here. First of all, it's a huge request from my side to all the viewers to please go through the subscribe button and please like, share and subscribe our channel so that many and maximum people can get the information at once, and even though you can also enjoy the video as well. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you like this video, please give a thumbs up and give a suggestion in the comment box. Thank you.